The fluorescent lights of the grocery store hummed overhead, a low, relentless drone that vibrated through the soles of my worn sneakers. My cart, half full of necessities, felt like an anchor. I stood frozen in front of the cereal aisle, a dizzying canyon of colorful boxes shouting promises of sweetness and energy. My hand trembled slightly as I reached for the familiar blue box of my usual brand, the one that tasted like childhood and routine. But my fingers stopped. My gaze drifted past it, past the rows of new and improved, past the organic options, past the ones promising extra fiber or low sugar. Everything blurred. The bright colors swam, the words on the boxes became meaningless shapes. A cold sweat prickled up my hairline. My breath hitched, a shallow gasp I tried to swallow down. The hum of the lights grew louder, louder, until it filled my head, a physical pressure. The faces of the other shoppers, moving with purpose, became indistinct smudges. I felt detached. Like I was watching a movie of myself standing there, paralyzed by breakfast cereal. The sheer, absurd normalcy of it all, the mundane choice, the everyday setting, slammed into me with the force of a physical blow. This was it. This was the moment. Not a dramatic crash, not a loud bang. Just this. The crushing weight of existing in a world that demanded constant motion, constant productivity, constant happiness, while inside, I was dissolving into static. The cereal box in my hand felt suddenly heavy, impossible to lift. The fluorescent lights buzzed, and the world tilted. That's where it started. That quiet, humiliating moment in the cereal aisle. The moment I realized my carefully constructed life, the one that looked so put together on the outside, was crumbling under the weight of something I couldn't name, something that felt like failure but was so much deeper, so much quieter. It wasn't about the job, though that was part of it. It wasn't about the relationship, though that had its cracks. It was about the gnawing emptiness that had been growing for months, a hollow space inside me that no amount of promotions, no amount of praise, no amount of scrolling through curated lives on my phone could fill. It was the exhaustion that seeped into my bones before my alarm even went off. It was the constant, low-grade anxiety that hummed beneath the surface like faulty wiring, making every interaction feel like a performance, every task a mountain. And it was the terrifying realization that I wasn't just tired. I was broken. Not visibly. Not in a way anyone else would notice. I still smiled. I still met deadlines. I still showed up. But inside, I was disappearing. Piece by piece. That day in the grocery store, clutching that stupid cereal box, feeling the walls of the cereal aisle close in, I finally understood. The hustle culture, the constant push to be more, do more, have more, wasn't just exhausting. It was a lie. A beautiful, shiny, seductive lie that promised fulfillment but delivered only emptiness. And I had bought it hook, line, and sinker. I had bought it so completely that I had forgotten how to just be. How to exist without performing. How to find value outside of productivity. That moment in the aisle wasn't just a panic attack. It was an intervention. A brutal, fluorescent-lit intervention staged by my own neglected soul. It was the universe, or my subconscious, or whatever you want to call it, shaking me by the shoulders and screaming, "Look. This isn't working. You're dying inside." And the terrifying part? I knew it was true. I knew I had been dying inside for a long time, slowly, silently, while I chased the next goal, the next achievement, the next validation. The cereal box slipped from my numb fingers and clattered onto the linoleum floor. A few nearby heads turned. I didn't care. I just stood there, breathing raggedly, the cold sweat now mingling with hot tears I couldn't hold back anymore. The lie was exposed. And in its place, there was only the terrifying, exhilarating, paralyzing truth. I was lost. And I had no idea how to find my way back. Not yet. But that moment, that shattering, humiliating moment in the grocery aisle, became the starting line. It became the catalyst. It became the painful, necessary beginning of a journey I never asked for, but desperately needed. The journey to stop pretending. To stop performing. To stop chasing the lie and start searching for the real me. The one who got lost somewhere between should and must, between hustle and happiness. The journey back to myself. It wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be quick. It would involve facing the parts of me I'd buried under layers of ambition and people-pleasing. It would mean confronting the fear of not being enough, the fear of slowing down, the fear of being seen as lazy or ungrateful. But that day, standing in the wreckage of my own carefully constructed facade, surrounded by the mundane reality of breakfast cereal, something shifted. A tiny ember sparked in the ashes. A flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, I could rebuild. Not bigger, not shinier. Not better in the eyes of the world. But real. Authentic. Whole. It was a terrifying thought. But it was also the only one that felt true. The only one that offered a path out of the suffocating darkness I'd been living in. So, I took a shaky breath. I wiped my eyes with the back of my hand. I ignored the curious glances. And I bent down to pick up the cereal box. Not my usual brand. Something simpler. Something less performative. Something that just was. It was a small act. A tiny rebellion,